Oh, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders. Shout out to the House of the Dragon. Oh my goodness, I need the music playing. You guys, funny story. Not so funny for me, but maybe a little funny to you. I don't know. Oh, I just made about a 15-minute video, and I was not recording. So I'm gonna try. I don't do good with take twos, man. I'm the best when I'm authentic, whenever I'm just off the top of my head. But whenever I have to like replay things that I feel like I just talked about, even though you guys don't know what I'm talking about, to me it's like I feel like I'm being boring by just repeating the same thing. So if I forget anything or leave anything out, I apologize in advance, but we're going to try to do this right this time. I am recording. We're good. We're live. I'm pausing the music. Music's paused, and we're going to do some TA right now. So one last shout out to the Dragon Riders, and let's get going. So I know, guys. I was bullish on this bottom at first. I was a little cautious at first, like these 2 days. Then this day convinced me that that was the low. And then as we got, I believe it was this day, I was saying that I think we are going to go lower. Because we had this one nice day, but there wasn't a lot of volume and there was no follow through on the next 3 days. So called for this to be the top. We went up a little bit higher the next day just to reject. I gave the conditions needed to convinced me that that was the low where I was starting to waver, and I wasn't really convinced. I was more convinced that we'd go lower. We almost met those conditions, but we did not. And now, as the days go on, as the hours go on, the minutes go on, it's becoming, I think, increasingly more obvious that we are in a downtrend, right? I mean, we've got just like a momentary downtrend. You zoom out, we're in an uptrend, obviously, but you got a low here or a high here. You've got a lower high here. You've got a lower high here. You potentially have just formed another lower high. We've got a low here, potentially a low there, whatever, a lower low, however you want to look at it, a lower low, a lower low. What would we be going to do? I mean, you connect the dots here. It kind of looks like we're in a channel. You know, we might be moving down to the bottom of this channel right below the green line. What else is right below that green line? It's the same targets that I've been talking about for the past few days, which is about 376 to 350. I really do like this 370 to 380 area as a potential low for BCH, mainly because I don't believe that we're going to go below these lows. I don't think we're going to go anywhere near them. So I suppose it is possible we could go a little bit lower, down to like 365, even 360, that area. But the further away that we get from that green line, the kind of less, the less that I would expect that. I think that we're gonna hug that green line just under it. As the days go on, it's increasing, you know, in value as well. So again, just to kind of show you our relationship with the green line, at least this past year and a half now, every time that we've been below it, let's see, what's the furthest that we've been from the green line? We're going to really try this here, okay? All right. Since our initial pump out of this accumulation phase, right? I don't know why it jumped me all the way back there, but since our initial pump here in June of 2023, right, we have been having a very positive relationship with this green line. I feel like I can't talk. A very positive relationship with the green line. If we take off the magnet, which I have, and we measure more or less from the green line, the furthest low that we had, come on now, it was about, maybe I'll have to turn the magnet on and toggle. Is there a way to toggle it on and off? I don't want to keep clicking it. 6% there. 4.7% there. And I'm going from the green line. So if I'm looking at it on the day that it has a low, I'm going from where the green line was there, not where it's crossing. I hope that makes sense. I'm really just measuring the distance that the price gets from the 123 moving average, right, at the furthest. 4.6% seems to be a common kind of thing, 4 to 5% in that range, right? From about there to about there, it's 4.7. Maybe that first one, that first low was the furthest that we've got, 6.5, which was 6. Okay, so there we go. We got the furthest right there, 6.5, even a little bit lower probably. 6.6, something like that, whatever. From the high, or from the green line. 7.4%. Okay, so 7.4 is the max that we've seen. Assuming, let's look at this now, right? The 123 here. It's growing at a rate of, let's go from the low here. It's 378.50 $379.88, so that was $1.33, right? 79.88.81, so that's $2. That's $1.50. 83. It's $1.70 essentially. Let's just say it's like $2. Not even $2, is it? It's around $2, just less than $2. So as the days go on, and I would expect that we're going to find our low this week or next week, right? Looking at the week now, we've got 3 days, 20 hours. That's essentially 4 days. Next week, a full 7 days. So let's call it 11 days. 11 days out from here, I promise, full circle, we're going to go with it. It's the 9th at 11 days. It's the 20th, right? That'd be a little bit late. I do think I would expect it before the 15th, but up to the 20th. Let's just go with that, up until the end of next week. It probably, if it were to happen next week, by it I mean the next low, it would happen in the beginning of next week. But I'm thinking perhaps it could happen this week. But at any rate, you know, let's say it grows $2 more, whatever. Just it grows like that, something like that. Total speculation here. I mean, if we were to find our low today, on average, we're like 4 to 5% away from the low, so that would be at about 377. 5% would be about 373. So that 380 to 370 area, again on the map there, that's that 1272 area. If we were to drop 7, the maximum was 7.4%. I mean, that would take us right around our 1414, which is at $365. It would take us right around there. As time goes on, as these days go on, so that would be the low as of today, the maximum low potential based off of what we've seen since June for about the last year with the interactions that we've had with the green line. Okay, if we were to see something that was to shock the world, sure, I mean that can happen. You never know with crypto, especially on these halving dumps, man. We can see some capitulation-like behavior, capitulative behavior, where people just panic sell, but it really does make sense to me that we would be above these highs, that we'd be above this high. That high comes in just a little bit above that high. It's kind of the behavior of all these low. I say high, I'm sorry, low. The low would come in just above those lows. It'd be a little higher. That's kind of the behavior of this thing, right? Look at all these lows. They're just slightly higher, but higher nonetheless. So I'm not expecting that we go below here. Everything makes sense. I feel like no matter how I try to cut it, a lot of things make sense that if we were to go lower, right? There's no conviction in the chart yet. I see it more as a possibility that we're going to go lower. I personally believe it's more likely that we'll go lower, but I think to announce, or what's the word I'm looking for, to confirm that it is a likelihood that we go lower than this low here at 399. We would have to close a day or get multiple 4-hour closes below $453, okay? So far we're bouncing right off it, but we've got a hell of a day, hell of a long time in the day to go. Yeah, man. I'm just literally basing it off the fibs, and then today, this video, we're actually taking the idea of going from the green line, the 123 moving average, the furthest away from it where the low was from that green line, and you got about 4.17 at a minimum, 7.4 at a maximum. A lot of them are in between 4 to 5 cents there, even 6 to 6.3 cents. All that 6.3%. I'm really doing well with my words, as you guys can tell. All of those prices, all those ranges there below the green line, it lines up very well with the extended fib range that we have here, and not even going down to 350. I really do think we'd hold that 365 line, but we very well could tip that 376 area, and that's it. Maybe go slightly below it, maybe bottom just above it. I would love to see us bottom right above it. That's actually a more bullish thing, but just to keep it fresh in our minds as well as we're moving on here, if this happens, and I do believe it will happen, but if it happens, right, something like this, whatever, right, we find our next low down here. It just, to me, it looks so clean. Even with this high, right, like you take that high there, you get these lows coming in. It looks pretty clean to me, but who cares how clean it looks? Anything can happen. I mean, it can be ugly. It can just, who cares? What was I gonna say, man? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just because we find our low, or potentially we have found our low, whenever it happens, does not mean we're going to the moon. Bitcoin Cash likely will do better than Bitcoin over the month of May, over the month of June, over the month of July, August, September, every month until the bull cycle's over. It will likely, and I'm not saying it will outperform BTC every single month, but probably 9 out of 10 months, like most months, guys. If not every month, 9 out of 10 months. Like it's going to be BCH versus BTC is going to be outperforming. I wonder actually on a monthly basis. Let's look for that. All I'm trying to say is it's not going to take off from there, but it will still perform well against BTC. That's the whole point that I'm trying to make there. But I'm kind of curious. Okay, yeah, so last month it was red. We've actually had a couple red months even before the month that was green there. So maybe not 9 out of 10 months, but I don't know. The way that I see it, man, I feel like we're in the exciting part of the bull cycle. So let's see how it goes, but I would assume that over the months to come for the rest of the year, let's see, it's May right now. It's 8 months left in the year. I'm calling for at least 6 of those months to be green. Like I really do think BCH is going to start to shine through the rest of this cycle in comparison to BTC. And I would expect this month and next month, I think all the months through this consolidation phase are going to be better, and then especially when we finally start to do bullish things. So if we were to do worse versus BTC for BCH, it would have to be toward the end of the year after we've like had a decent pump. I don't know. And maybe BTC catches up or BCH is selling off, but that's neither here nor there, man. I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll be wrong with that. It's just an idea. It's just a theory. The main point, getting back to the main point, lower we go. That's my genuine assumption. You look at the daily RSI, it looks terrible. If we are to bounce off of here, if we are to get a green day, that would start to actually look nice because we would get a little bit of a bounce off the 40 there. We'd get a bounce off of this area. The idea of this inverse head and shoulders could come into play. If you look at the 4 hour, it's a little bit more obvious than on the daily, right? And maybe this whole bit is your left shoulder. Maybe it's just this tiny bit here or this bit, like who knows. It's not the best looking pattern, but I mean technically by volume, how volume goes, I guess, you've got a lot of volume there, less volume at the head, and then even less volume in your right shoulder. It kind of lines up actually, but it's really weird. The volume profile is weird, and the pattern itself would be weird if this is an inverse head and shoulders. However, if it is, you are doing the right things by bouncing off of here, right? Not there, off of here. You are doing the right things by bouncing off of your 40 level in the RSI. So close today green, keep going up if you want to prove me wrong. If not, we'll see you down at 370 to 380, potentially 360 around there. But and that's where I genuinely think we're going to go. If we look at the 4 hour RSI, I really do think this looks bearish, man. It looks like the bulls are having a hell of a time ever since, I suppose, since April 9th. Ever since about a month ago, it's bear territory, man, right? We have been predominantly below the 50. We have no problem being in the oversold zone. We have a huge problem being in the overbought zone. When we are below the 50, look at just how rambunctious this is, where look at how tame it is when we're above the 50. This reflects in the price itself. Come on now, right? Tame up here. Look at how tame it is. Whenever it's bull time, when we're above the 50 right here, look at how tame, look at what we do with it. We don't do anything. Whenever it's bear time, when we're below the 50, look at what we do. We actually make moves, right? Whenever we're above the 50 here, we're even overbought. Look at how tame we are. Now we're below the 50. I wonder if we're going to cut loose. That's just my theory. So I really do think that we're going to move lower. Time will tell. The real thing that did it for me in believing that we weren't going to continue higher and that we were going to go lower here is the volume just didn't come in. I was expecting to see more volume and more of a push up, and we didn't get it. So who knows? It still could happen. Somebody mentioned a few days ago that this is an early call to make, that this was a high or that we'd go lower. It's still too early to call. And I would say even now, even with yesterday's bearish engulfing candle, it's technically not engulfing, but it's a pretty big candle nonetheless, relatively speaking. Even with that, it's still too early to proclaim that we are going lower. I mean, I very much do believe we're going to go lower, but there's no conviction or what's the word I'm looking for? I keep forgetting it. It's like the word for convincing. there's no confirmation. There we go. There's no confirmation in the charts, but my opinion is we'll get that soon. And I really do think the next week to week to week and a half, we're gonna find our low. And I've just been talking a lot, man. This video is just more of the same. Really, the only thing that was new is the idea illustrating the interactions with the green line that we've had since about a year ago. So will we continue with that? I don't know. It's been a long time since we've interacted with it. It's been since February of this year, so maybe not. They're old friends. Will their what's the word I'm looking for? Their rendezvous? Will their rendezvous promote similar interactions, or are they new people now? Is the price a different person? It's going to be a little bit more violent with this tame green line. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you all for coming. I don't know if I have anything else I want to add. I know you guys have questions on the Jessica update. I don't know enough about it to really give any insight or give my opinion on it. I need to look into it more. To be honest, I meant to do it today. I genuinely did not have time. I had time. It was robbed from me. So that's just the way life goes, man. That's how it is. But it's okay. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're stacking up on BCH. If you've bought this recent high, or you bought this recent low, or you bought back over here, or you bought back over here, or you bought back over here, whatever, just hodl, hold, be patient. Time will reward us all. I do believe we're going to find our low very soon, though I do not think that we will be above these highs soon. I think it will be months until we're above those highs. And that's really all I got. So take care. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.